Leah Hextall, thank you for sitting through that. There she is. How you doing, Leah? Long time no see.
I'm great, Rod. How are you doing? Can you see me? Can you hear me?
Everything is fantastic. So, hey, it's a huge day for you because the news that finally came out this morning from ESPN, all the broadcast team, and you're on it. Congratulations. And how you feeling?
Rod, it's a big day. I'm not going to lie, for myself and for ESPN in general. I mean, I never thought when I started my career at CKX in Brandon, Manitoba, that I would be working for the juggernaut, which is ESPN. And you yourself, as a Hall of Fame broadcaster in play-by-play, know how incredibly difficult that position is. So to be getting this opportunity to call the greatest game at the highest level in play-by-play, it truly is something I've been working for very hard for the last few years, and it's a good day, and I love that I'm finally able to speak to it.
You don't need to be humble here today, not in this house. You soak it all in, and it seems like you are. But I mean, when I say that, it's not just the last few years. I was telling the folks before you came on that I used to call those Pats games, and you were like right here on the other side of the wall of me. Yeah. And I'm so loud, so I apologize for annoying you all night for that. But you were very gracious with that. But I mean, maybe tell the people, let's introduce yourself to the viewers that are watching right now that you're a Manitoba gal, Brandon gal, and you have started at the bottom and you've hit the top. But just tell us a little bit of your story, if you don't mind.
Well, I appreciate that, Rod. And yes, those days at the Keystone Center in Brandon, Manitoba, covering the Brandon Wheat Kings, that was my first gig, working there and covering that beat. And I tell you, and Rod, I know you can speak to this too, I'm so fortunate for starting my days in junior hockey. It really laid the groundwork for everything that I have done since. And I spent a couple of years in Brandon, and then I went on to CTV in Winnipeg and was there for 7 years, and kind of jumped back and forth doing some Sports Center on TSN and some gigs. But got a big break with Nesson in Boston in 2012, and I went down there for a couple of years, and then was hired by Sportsnet when they took over the NHL rights in Canada. And unfortunately, that didn't really turn out the way I hoped. After 2 years, they had to do some layoffs due to finances, and I was one of those cuts. And at the time, Rod, we've all felt this in our industry. I couldn't find a job. After 15 years and working at the highest level on the most iconic brand in hockey and Hockey Night in Canada, I couldn't find a job in the industry. So I completely pivoted and went outside of broadcast and actually worked in politics for a few years with the Premier of Manitoba. And during that time, I decided to pivot to play-by-play. And I say that with great humility because it is the hardest thing we can do as broadcasters, in my opinion. And I still have so much to learn, but I started calling games, and a lot of it was what you didn't see. It was traveling out to Manitoba Junior Hockey League games in Selkirk or Neepawa or Portage or wherever it might be, and just calling to an online audience, or going to Moose games here and calling in a booth by myself and just recording it on my phone, trying to get better. So it has been a journey, and I'm really fortunate because I've had some great people supporting me, but that's been my road. And now starting next fall, I'm going to be a play-by-play in the NHL. Sorry. And that's huge.
Well, listen, I know, but that's why I wanted to tell the whole road, not just the past couple of years, how long that you've been pounding away at this. So that's why when I saw the announcement, which I don't know how it got leaked a few weeks ago that this was coming out, we all kind of knew, right, that you were going to ESPN. Yeah. But I was real happy because, again, we were side by side many, many years ago. I've seen the climb. So I'm very proud of you for that. But it's funny that you would say that play-by-play is the hardest, because Sarah Orlesky and I have had this discussion. I said sidelines is the hardest thing to do. That and probably what I'm doing right now. But I guess we all have our thing, right? Like, what's your thing?
Yeah, we do, and you're so right. And when I say play-by-play, I think maybe right now I have such a linear vision because it's what I'm trying to get better at. So for me, right now, it's the hardest skill. And I should mention with ESPN, I'm also going to be doing rinkside reporting for them as additional duties. So, and I love being rinkside, and I agree with you. Especially in this day and age where in the sport of hockey, where players are so buttoned up, trying to find those human pieces that can relate to the game and dragging information out of players and trying to bring new storylines in this day of social media and doing it well without, quite frankly, pissing anybody off. It's a very tough thing to do. So, I think rinkside reporting, I've also been a studio host, which I think takes a tremendous amount of skill. You look at people like Ron McLean who just do it so easy, yourself here behind the mic. Radio is a beast. I've done that as well. And there's no fronting in radio. You got to know what you're talking about because you have the time to outline why your opinions are what they are. And you can get caught so easily if you're a poser. So I really believe that, radio might be one of the hardest things to do as well. So, I love it all. But I think right now, just because I'm in that play-by-play lens, and I'm trying to get better at it because, quite frankly, I've done less than 20 games on television. I'm still in that state of learning and trying to get better.
Well, and you'll never stop. But, you're probably right. The talk show host thing is probably the hardest because of the time and needing to know your stuff. But the sideline is difficult. And I don't know how Sarah does it because nobody gets mad at her. Everybody else that,
well, I think that's because Sarah has found that really lovely, delicate balance that I just talked about, where they first of all, she's earned their respect. And I think that's the first thing. When a player knows that you're in there to do your job, and specifically as women, we're there to do the job. And that's something that we face throughout time. And you're not looking like as a token anymore, and you're asking good questions, and you take the time to know the people. I think that really all blends into it.
I'm just going to read these comments verbatim, if you don't mind, Leah, from our viewers. Robin Wildy says, Leah, be proud of what you accomplished. Long road from Manitoba to the NHL. Enjoy it. Well, they do have an NHL team, but I get what he's saying. From Todd Pinckney, I'm calling it right now. You have today's Rock Star of the Day and the week. We do Rock Star of the Day for Rockstar Supply Chain Solutions here. Jaco Richard says, congrats, Leah Hextall from Kenton, Nashville. Leah, been listening for a long time. Big fan. Enjoy those early games. Hope you get sent to Nashville a few times. Brian Eitenauer, congrats, Leah. You'll be fantastic. I can't wait to listen to you. Has that kind of been what your phone's been like here this morning? What's this morning been like for you?
Well, it literally just came out right as I was trying to get through my technical difficulties because I'm, trying to connect. So I just saw it, but my phone is starting as I'm talking to you. I hope you're not getting some beeps because I forgot to turn off my notifications. And I'm getting a few, my agents on here, and I'm getting a few people, I think, to let me know that it's out. But when the news first came out, when it was reported by the New York Post, I have to say, Rod, I was so almost taken aback at how positive it was. Like people who had never even heard of me, just the fact that, it was a step and it was, a piece of progress and it's a historic hire. And people just seem to be really into it and to having a new voice really in this world of hockey where we have so many incredible voices. But, we do have to start to transition into some new voices. And I hope that one of them is mine. And I'm looking forward to it and, and sharing my view of the game with everyone.
Well, actually, it's funny you say that because I'm seeing a lot of commentary from viewers and fans of the game saying we need new blood. We need new blood. That's, you're hearing it too, obviously. And the thing is, the game. Like, people are writing in here asking if you're related to Ron Hextall. Like, do you get that? You must every single day, I would think. Yeah.
He started playing, I believe, 87 was his rookie year. And I think I was about 8 years old at the time. And pretty much, especially growing up in Manitoba, because for those who don't know, actually, the one who started it all for our family was my grandfather, who I affectionately refer to as Pops, who is Brian Hextall. He's a Hall of Famer, played for the New York Rangers, led the scoring race in the NHL for a couple of years and scored the OT winner against those Toronto Maple Leafs to win the 1940 Cup. So I always like to dig that in. But he was the one who started it. My Uncle Brian, my Uncle Denny played in the NHL. My dad himself won a national title, which would have been the RBC Cup, but it was the Centennial Cup at the time, which is affectionately gone back to now in junior hockey. He won that with the Portage Terriers, so he attended an NHL camp. But and then there's Ron. So we have three generations in the game, but I think that the one thing, honestly, what I'm the most proud of is that I didn't grow up playing the game. I played shinny on a pond and street hockey. I was a very casual fan. I watched when my cousin played. And when I first started covering the Brown and Wheat Kings, I had to go home after my first game and I had a stat sheet and I said to my dad, what does this mean? I didn't even really know what icing was. I didn't know what offside was. I really had to learn the game from the outside in, and it's taken me years and years to do that. So to get to the point now where I can call the game and have such a verbiage of it and understanding of it as someone who didn't play it and had to learn from the outside in, that's probably the thing I'm the most proud of, is that I didn't play, but I'm here standing in and calling it. So, I have the lineage. I have the love that I think is in me genetically for the game, because I do love it for some odd reason. I always have, even though I didn't play. But it is something that I definitely had to learn and continue to learn over the years.
Well, you're being far too humble, because I'll say it again. How long ago was it that we were in the press box in Brandon? 20 years ago?
Yeah, it's almost been 20 years. I'm going to have
right.
Oh my goodness. It makes me feel like, oh my God, yeah, it's almost been 20 years. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so I was there. I saw the start of it, Leah. You're being far too hard on yourself, I guess. But thanks for telling us your story today. And I know that you're going to have a busy day answering calls and messages and stuff, so I'll let you go. But thanks for fitting us in here. We'll be watching, and congratulations again. It's nice to see you again.
Thank you so much, Rod, and right back at you, and have a wonderful and safe summer. Thank you.
Appreciate it. You too, yeah. ESPN's Leah Hextall joining us from Manitoba. How about that?
Unreal.
How about that?
That's a big day right there.
Pretty special.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.